Andrew Dinelli, I'm part of the Central Jersey Tenants Union. We took a look at the publicly available data that measures people's income and what they're spending on rent. We found for the 2,000 or so people that live in Bamboo, there's an 11% rate of poverty. And there is also, so 48%, around 48% pay more than 30% of their wages, of their income in rent. And that is something, so 30% is the standard to kind of gauge where we have a level of unsustainability on the amount of money that people are paying. And I brought this topic before. I brought it when we sworn in Councilmember Trina Fox. But I think it's really important that we take a look at this, and we need to, there's a need, a pressing need for a rent control board. I asked the senior planner from Lindsay Masik from Higher Rural and Associates, if there was any mechanism to replenish the units that work, because a lot of times what happens in the development in this town is that we bring newer, more units that rent at higher rates, and people are not able to afford those rates, and we never replenish the units that were renting, you know, if there was maybe a couple $100 less in rent, we never replenish those units. And I think one of the issues that we keep coming back to is that we don't have a body like a rent control board that can keep track, that they can have a mechanism to kind of start to get some feedback and some data on what are people paying in rent, and you know, get a sense of that in the area. And I'm going to ask President Lopez and Councilmember Fox if they will be willing to pledge to working families and seniors that rent and that struggle, that have to make a decision because of this spending that they do on rent, whether to buy food or medicine, and they have to make some tough choices. I've taken them myself to the food bank. I've helped collect rent for seniors that have been displaced because of this silly luxury apartment that come in and everybody is competing for high rent. So would you pledge, Mr. Lopez and Ms. Folks, to create this rent control board this year in this town to help those seniors and those working families that are struggling?
If you're asking for rent control, that has to be done by ordinance without a large undertaking by a municipality that has to establish a rent control board as a facility. There's also pending legislation at the state level that you may want to take a look at, where the state may or may not get having oversight. It's pending, it's not adopted yet. So a lot of
so it's not law. It's not law yet. Pending, perfect.
So before you say and ask two members, they don't have that power because it would require ordinance to be put.
But you just said it's pending, so it's not law yet, no? It's
No, the state is making it, putting more requirements on the towns that currently have rent control.
Are you talking about the affordable units that are required?
No, I'm talking about pending legislation that is in a state assembly bill that's not law, and that they're looking at in the state. But as far as establishing a rent control board, that is not ordinance.
So you're asking me to take into consideration and an uncertain factor.
I'm not asking you.
I don't know, you're implying it, so I'm glad to comment on that. We have an uncertain factor, this legislation that may or not pass. What does that have to do with what we can do now of starting the process of creating a rent? Because
asking two members wouldn't work because you have to have an ordinance passed and put that.
Okay, let's pass the ordinance, you don't think? Okay, well, tell that to the seniors and the working families. I don't know. Any better answer than that? I'm sorry. What do you think, Mr. Lopez and Ms. Folks? What do
I
we
believe
go?
you already received your answer.
No, I haven't received an answer from you.
Well, my answer would be, I don't know about
To pass an ordinance?
Just as you are a resident who lives in that apartment, so I'm well aware of affordable housing needs. I'm well aware of rent control needs, but I don't have the power to do that.
Okay.
That's my answer.
All right, I will show you to talk to some of the veterans and some of the people that live in there, that live in these apartments that they can't afford. You're choosing to be on the side of developers and corporate landlords. You're choosing because you're not giving me a positive answer.
I'm not choosing. I gave you a statement.
Okay.
Okay.
A non-statement.
Please don't put words.
So listen, hold, this is